Hey guys, thank you so much for stopping by the garden today. We're just going to go over some quick tips and a little tour on what's been going on, what's been blooming. We have our orchid here we've been feeding with high phosphorus and potassium. So orchids are going to need less nitrogen at this point and more phosphorus and potassium because of her blooms. You can see her pretty blooms popping out. They're going to open one by one all the way down. She's looking pretty good, but she's struggling a little bit from the heat. You can see she's drooping a little bit. So I'm going to have to make sure she's well watered and stays watered because her leaves are drooping and this is no good. She's starting to wrinkle. She's got some root damage. So I got to keep an eye on her and make sure she's going to be blooming okay. She looks good so far. We've been giving her nutrients and we're just going to keep an eye on her. We're feeding her with Dynagrow Bloom nutrients, which I'll go get you. Alright you guys, so I'm using 2 nutrients on her because we got this lovely gift box from Dynagrow. So these were bought and sent to me by Dynagrow. I did not buy these nutrients and I've been using them around the garden since I got them. Now that Mag Pro is a 215-4, so it's basically to fix nutrient deficiencies. If you have a deficiency on your plant, lacking phosphorus, potassium and stuff like that, that's really good. So I'm using that in conjunction with my Bloom nutrients. Now everything that's blooming in the garden, no matter if it's a pepper, my blueberries, my blackberry, they're getting the Bloom nutrients because they're going to need that extra phosphorus and potassium for these beautiful blooms. So we'll go about the garden, go over some tips on what we're doing. We're going to be leaving here in a few days, so we got to get the garden ready. So make sure it stays nice and watered, everything's nice and healthy before we leave. My succulents are going crazy. You can see they're really happy. They're getting big. These little guys down here are getting big too. Everything is growing right now. We're in spring. It's April 15th today, or 13th. Sorry, it's April 13th. And we're looking good. We got more succulents growing and getting big. Get another pretty one right here. This is a jade. Then we have a pineapple here. You can see we have an awesome pineapple. She's doing really good. I repotted her in some nice fresh potting soil. Well, I didn't totally repot her. I just kind of took some old soil out on top and I put new soil down and she's getting big. This was 2 babies that popped out of 1 pineapple that we got last year. So I harvested that pineapple. She's actually 2 years old now. I harvested that pineapple. She died. The mother died and pushed out these 2 babies, which I left. I never broke them off the mom, and she just disintegrated in the center there and pushed out 2 new babies, which took over this whole pot. Now we're going to go out in the lanai. Alright, you guys, so this is my lanai table. We have our nephitis doing good. Our lavender down there doing really well. You can see. So at this point, what I really like to do is just do a garden check. Make sure everything's growing right. We're good here. We're going to have to trim some tops off of this soon because this lavender is getting pretty big, but she's supposed to, so we're doing good. We got to kind of rotate her pot because you can see all this foliage is pushing towards the sun. I wish you can smell this lavender plant. It smells magnificent. She looks so good. Everything's just producing, and this is just from regular maintenance, you know, repotting when you need it, watering when you need it, paying attention. These are just some little babies. My allergies are driving me crazy today. My babies are getting big. Just give you a little look-see of my table here. Propagating some new plants. My bamboo's doing really well out here. You can see she's darkening up, staying nice and moist. My air plants look good. And we'll go to my citronella now. Alright, you guys, so this is right when I walk out of my house. I had to wait for that truck to pass. And this citronella I had to put on the floor. So remember, she was on the stand that my basil's on. My basil's just sprouting. So you can see I had to tie her off again. Because look at her branches. So from pruning the right foliage that was blocking these branches, look how much they shot up. You can see this. You can see how much this thing's been growing. We got 2 down here. We have another one all the way at the bottom. So she's getting really big. You can see just how big she is getting. And she had to go on the floor because she actually toppled over on me. That's how big she's been getting. She looks so good. I'm so sorry it's dark, you guys, but it's a little cloudy out here today. It's my little arrowhead propagation. She's growing really big. You can see her stalks are stalking. out. Just got a couple more plants over here, some sage growing in the garden. These are some African daisies or Shasta daisies, I forget. Some sage, which we pruned. We got spinach here. This is sage. We prune the top. So when sage gets pretty big, you just want to prune the top off. You want to top it. Now this is called topping, totally topping your plant. Taking off all the way down to here or down to where I took it. You're going to pinch, because what that's going to do is send out 2 new growths out of the top. See that? So wherever you pinch, those 2 center branches are going to push out. You can see we have center branches all over the place because we pruned. So that's really important to prune all your tops at this point, so your sage branches out and doesn't grow too lanky on you. Now we'll go out in the garden. Alright you guys, so gardening maintenance. You can see like I pruned all the dead foliage that was in here. So any snapdragons that bloomed and were done, I cut the tops off. I'm leaving the rest to bloom out. And then I trimmed up the bottom. So I'm trimming up the bottom of all my plants. You can see how we don't have foliage touching the ground on these 2 plants right here. I did these, I gotta get in the back today. But we're keeping it nice and clean. We gotta make sure there's no buggies because we've been getting hit with aphids and fungus in the ground. We got it in the ground. There's spores all over the place, so we gotta make sure we treat with neem. Neem oil is a fungicide, pesticide, and I love using it in the garden. Now I had to trim some of my tomato because the bottom leaves, excuse my voice, being out here with all these flowers and stuff blooming is killing me. Which one's right there? It's a zinnia. But you can see I prune my branches off on the bottom because anything that's touching that soil, you want to get rid of. You want to let it grow up top. You want to get rid of like a foot on the bottom, because what's going to happen is when you water, that soil is going to splash up on your leaves and cause fungus, which we have right here. You can see I kept the leaves for you so you can kind of see. Now this leaf was at the bottom, the very, very bottom. You can see the fungus was starting on the bottom of that leaf, touching the soil. So we know we got fungus spores throughout the garden. It's not on the top yet, so by the time you see it on the top, it's too late. And I could already tell that this is getting fungus. See that? Brand new tomato. Because we're growing in Florida, and Florida's a crazy, crazy state to grow in. I mean, things just get hit with blight so quick, you guys. So we're gonna just make sure we take care of the garden. We'll go up here. We're gonna take a walk. Our peppers are doing really well. They're producing really, really good. We got 2 peppers we're gonna harvest already. You can see we have 1 there, 1 beautiful one there. We got 3 on that one, which I'm gonna be getting a lot of produce while we're gone, which kind of stinks because, you know, I've been growing all my plants to see them bloom and produce, and my blackberry and blueberry is gonna be pushing out so many blooms and blueberries when we're gone, so I'm not gonna be able to harvest a lot of them. My sunflower will just go around. See my little cottage garden mix, I cleaned it up in there. Anything dead you want to take out, any dead foliage, you always want to leave the healthy foliage. Just some beans, some new beans popping up. It's our little tomato seedling, doing good. We have beans we've been picking off of that bean plant right there, and my eggplant is starting to flower, you guys. Getting a nice flower head on her. See? It's a pretty little flower. I love eggplant flowers. She's doing good. Everything's doing good. So everything that's starting to bloom, I give that bloom nutrients. And I'm going to start hitting it with the Mag Pro in between. See how healthy this blackberry is. She's just jamming out, doing her thing. See how beautiful? Bees love her. We just trimmed. We have a bunch of new blooms starting. A bunch of fruit ripening for us right there. See? We have a watermelon right here getting big, which I'm going to have to get some pantyhose to stake this watermelon up. Look how big this watermelon's getting, you guys. See that little sucker? See how big it's getting? It's so nice and green. See the color on it? That's what your watermelon should look like. So we're going to rest it on here, and you can see it's like, it's hanging on, but we're going to have to hold it up with something because it's getting really heavy and I don't want that coming off. So we're topping off our soil with fresh compost that we made, homemade, every 2 to 3 weeks, and we're giving her bloom once every few weeks. I'm going to see what else she needs with them Dynagrow nutrients we got from Dynagrow. These little blackberry propagations are doing really well. This one's starting to vine out, and this is the one we pulled together. So she's starting to come back. Remember, she stunted out on me, and I knew that she would come back. I'm not worried about this. You can see she's got a new branch already stalking way up there. She's got a new one here too. So that's going to turn into this little plant right here, which is pretty amazing. So happy about that. It's a raspberry doing really good. We planted her. Blueberry, we just trimmed her up. We'll just kind of go over this. Make sure they're well watered. I'm going to water all my containers all the way through before we leave. Make sure everything's pushing out fruit and produce good. Everything looks good. We got lots of blueberries ripening on her. Lots of new foliage coming out too, so we're doing good. I think my garden will be okay while we're gone. I just got to make sure these little containers right here, so these are going to dry out a lot faster than the other containers, like my raspberry and blueberry are in, because look how short these are. And there's so much produce in here, so I'm going to put like a little trellis down, and I'm going to put water in the bottom, because carrots love moisture, so for the few days being in a little tub of water, I don't feel like that's going to really hurt them. They're getting really big, so we're going to be pulling soon, which I did pull one this morning out of my purple carrot tote, and we're looking good. We're starting to get carrots popping up. You can see they're not really that big yet, so I don't want to pull, but you can see they're starting to come about, starting to push up really nice, and they look good. The ones I've pulled already look really, really nice. Kind of go over here, show you the coleus growing in the middle there. I love growing miscellaneous flowers. That is coleus, and I love the pretty colors she gets. This is a variegated type coleus packet, and I love this one. Green beans doing really good. And at that point, I just pull any green beans that grow funky. You know, sometimes a seed might not grow that good. Might sprout funky and start growing funky. So I just pull it and plant another one. This eggplant's doing good. I trimmed the bottom off. Strawberry's doing really good, acclimating. She's getting some new growth, which is nice to see. She's recouping. And this is our little carrot tote, getting really big here. So we're looking good, you guys. And with green beans, what I mean by growing funky, sometimes you get a green bean to come up funky like this little guy. See, his foliage is getting real funk, but yet the guys next to him are great. So him I'm going to pull, because this whole plant, I can tell by the middle already, it's going to grow funk. See that? No root system. It's going to grow funk. So I'm just going to take it out. I'm going to interplant my green beans around these. See how they grow? I probably won't plant till I get back, just because I have to keep them seedlings watered quite a bit. But you can see that this pepper right here too. Look at this pepper. This pepper we're growing into another season. So we grew her the end of summer last year into the winter time. And then she's blooming for me this summer. So I'm gonna see. I've never grown a pepper plant past one season before. It's always died off on me, but you can see how many blooms she has. So I'm gonna try to bloom her out, see what happens to her. Maybe we can get some more produce off of this one plant. Kind of curious to see. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it, and really just hope you enjoyed the garden. It's really awesome to have all these flowers to be blessed with, and produce out in your garden blooming. The bugs and the bees around. It's a little bachelor button right there. So pretty. You can see a little bachelor button. So thank you so much for watching, you guys. I hope you have an awesome day, and I'll see you when I get back. It's a little garden tour before I leave. So I'll be back recording probably next week on Tuesday. Thank you so much for being here, you guys, and I'll see you next time out in the garden. Bye-bye.